So here is a macro view of Bitcoin, what's been going on, what's been happening, what I'm looking at. So long story short, this is the big picture. I'm looking for Bitcoin to break this trend line. If Bitcoin manages to break this macro trend line right here, I would expect Bitcoin to come in and hit highs back around here, about 58K, and maybe back to previous all-time highs. But we really need Bitcoin to come in here and put in basically a breakout through this line here. But bulls right now are doing their job. Things that you want to look at is that we had a potential double bottom, which actually ended up playing out for us, right? This was our double bottom, and we needed to break that high right there, and we ended up doing so, right? Otherwise, we would have had a double top. So we didn't end up having a double top at all. It just didn't play out the way it was supposed to, which is good. The bulls came in, bought it up, and now has probably going to test this trend line is my assumption. If you want to think where I think it's going to go, it's probably going to trickle up and test this trend line. I wouldn't be surprised to see close to a $50,000 Bitcoin. That's completely possible. So get more of a detailed view of what's happening with Bitcoin. So we had a falling wedge. Remember the double top we talked about? Bitcoin's breaking out. This is our resistance line. I want to see Bitcoin break this resistance line. If not, it's perfectly in the cards and perfectly normal for Bitcoin to actually retrace down here to this 45K level before it makes its way back up. Where did I come up with that level? Very easy. All right, you got a support here, and then if you really zoom in on this candle here, got rejected on these two candle closes. And then you had this wick that came down. I'll clean this up for you so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. You almost see that this wick came here, touched here, these two candle body closes. You had a doji candle sitting here, so even this line down here at 44,635-ish is definitely potential. It was a rock solid level of support. So there's a ton of support there. Bitcoin can come all the way down here to 44.6, 45.2. So there's a bit of a zone there, $600 zone, which is potential. Would be perfectly in the card for Bitcoin to do that. What you don't want to see, and what changes the entire game, is see this low here? You do not want to see Bitcoin put in a lower low. That's what you don't want to see. This occurs every single trade, every single chart I'm about to show you goes out the window. Bitcoin's put in a lower low, and this downtrend is probably going to continue. So you really would be okay if Bitcoin comes in and possibly puts in a low there, or Bitcoin breaks up and then falls and uses this and finds support here. Those are kind of the two options that are weighing in my head what could potentially happen with Bitcoin. Now, another thing that's going on that changes the market is our MACD. So our MACD did two things. Our MACD put in a double bottom. MACD was relatively pretty sold. You know, we were down here below 1200. And then we got a nice, I want to show you this. We got a sharp uptick. These matter, right? These matter tremendously, because you can see how strong the buying pressure is. This is all momentum, how strong the buys are. When you get kind of these soft, rounded crosses, sometimes they don't play out as well. You can even see here you had a peak for the downside, and we got a massive move to the downside. So even here you had a peak bottom, got a nice little uprise. So you're really seeing a sharp uprise in the MACD is what you really want to see. It's almost like this over here, this sharp uprise. That's great to see. And then we go to the RSI, and the RSI had a downtrend. You can also draw trend lines on the RSI. Not perfect, but you can draw them. We broke out, and we're above 50. So long as you're above your 50 on the RSI, you're heading in the right direction. And that's what I'll check out. And I use a daily chart a lot for that. So you use a daily chart to check out your macro view. Then you can kind of hone in on some of your smaller views to see where your entry is. So here's one of them looking at is Binamon. So 1 hour chart. We had a breakout, right? So we had this, get rid of this guy so you can see what I'm talking about. We had this fallen trend line. We had a breakout, and now we're getting a retest. So what you want to see is 45 minutes says next candle close, but you want to see this trend line hold as support. This hold as support, this could trend a little lower, but provided it ever breaks back into the pattern, there's potential for a nice rise once Bitcoin tends to cool. Because right now Bitcoin's looking pretty strong. The dominance is flowing into Bitcoin, which means the money's leaving some of these smaller altcoins. Another thing you just got to keep in mind if you're on this trade is a potential rising wedge. So again, if it breaks back into this pattern, you may set a stop loss somewhere here. Right, you might want to set a stop loss potentially here if it breaks back in. You can always rebuy again should it break back out of this pattern. The next one we're looking at is ADA. So the purpose of this one is to show you Fibonacci retracements. So again, Fibonacci retracements, sometimes people will draw them from the top of a pattern to a bottom of a pattern to kind of get the game of playing of catching falling knives. You might find some sort of support levels. Fibonacci can also act as resistance. So this 382, it got rejected twice over here. ADA was unable to break it. So you got a rejection here and a rejection here, and we fell back down. However, that low is higher than that low. So it's potential that ADA might retest on this line, have a breakout, and then finally break through. So again, this is on the 4-hour chart. That's how I hone in. If Bitcoin's doing well, some of your altcoin setups are going to pop really well. Bitcoin's downtrending, your altcoin setups are not really going to downtrend. Another thing to kind of look at on this ADA chart, so we don't get too confused, is another bullish pattern. So it's called a cup and handle. And let's clean this up. So you have a cup and handle that could be coming in right now. I want to show you that. All right, you got the cup, and this could be a potential handle forming. That would be excessively bullish. Then the 382 becomes your neckline. So you can buy the bottom of the handle if you didn't buy the bottom of here. Or you can wait for the breakout of the fib. And you can easily get a target for this. So you just go from the from the bottom of the cup to the top of the cup. Assume where the breakout is. Draw a straight line, and you're probably coming in just below the 286, probably sitting here at $2.58. So would be a nice little trade if Bitcoin behaves. You're talking a not bad 12% hit. Not bad at all to make on Central Cup and Handle. So again, ADA is kind of on my watch list right now. Binamon's on my watch list. I want to make sure we don't break out of this falling wedge because again, there's a lot going on here. But long story short, what you're seeing here in Binamon is in this area here is you're having consolidation of price. You do have higher lows being made, and you do have higher highs. Again, you just want to see this trend line hold. And again, it all comes down to Bitcoin. So you want to see Bitcoin possibly retest here and could trend. Bitcoin breaks out of this trend line. To be honest with you, might be time to possibly double down on some of these altcoins. As if even Bitcoin goes back up to all-time highs, you could see 50 to 100% gains out of these altcoins. Any questions, guys? I run a group. You can easily join my group. You can hit me up in the comments section. You can email me, wealthdoctor85@gmail.com. I post charts when needed and to the group all week. I also cover crypto and I also cover stocks.